comes up and doesn't complain. And this is going to take some time to warm up. And then, because of how everything's laid out, I can switch it here, and we are now recording, and we'll have to stuff at the beginning, but that's okay. My viewers like doing it anyway. I think I'm good, thank you. Cool. That's your drink, and
okay.
That's yours.
We're going to announce everyone to come over, so you can go start.
I've already started recording, I believe, so I'll be up in a second. Yeah, everything should be cool. Thank you, man.
Audio check. Alright, I'm one of those guys that I love to show me it does help with some things. Alright, all
you don't know Adrian pretty well. Also known as the Iron. Just a comment board where I've got a lot of information about that. 10 years ago, I discovered this website. I got introduced here. Really, what I really like about it. You don't go about it, you can check out hierarchy.com. Just turn it in. But over to Adrian now. I encourage you.
I'm geek.com. I'll just geek out of my hands. I made some people take education. I made some stuff wrong, so if I do, come up and tell me afterwards. Like I said, don't know everything. I also am currently employed at a Fortune 1000 company. I will soon switch into a smaller fintech company because somebody say some things that are offensive in this talk. I won't name either one of them. But it doesn't take much cycle stalking to figure out who I work for. I'm also co-founder of BSides. The inspiration for this talk, I used to talk about technical things, talk about really geeky stuff. This one, not so geeky, but not many people necessarily know this, but I worked like 10 years at a library. And even though librarians are not technically human beings, they're nice people in general, and I like hanging out with them. So I think I'd do a talk on how you can use a library to further your intersect education. But those two quotes that really made me want to talk about the subject. The first one is, you got 150 grand on effective education you could have got for $1.50 at Lake Charles Public Library. Goodwill Hunting. I can't get a Boston accent. If you can, that's when you should have read that. And the other one is from Frank Zappa. If you want to get laid, go to college. If you want to get an education, go to the library. Now, one of the things I'm really focusing on the library is I don't have a lot of faith in higher education has become. And university admins, I look at them the same way as most people look at lawyers. And I really dislike lawyers. And I put admins of universities a little bit lower than that. There's a lot of people who work with security programs who don't necessarily have any business offering them. And I think a lot of universities exist not necessarily to, well, not necessarily for education of students. The way I like to put it is, at least a lot of universities, the student is not the customer. The student is not even the product. The student is fuel to keep the organization going. So I'm a big proponent of self-education when you can. The people in the industry who make me feel the dumbest generally have lower degrees than I've got. I've certainly got a master's in security and informatics. Most people make me feel dumb on a daily basis, have high school diplomas, bachelor's in something that's completely unrelated, that kind of thing. So we'll talk a little bit about how you can use the library to further your infosec education. Now, let's look at a few objections to using the library. Why would I ever want to do that? I mean, isn't material old and out of date? Well, unfortunately, that's somewhat true. Security does progress. A lot more concepts stay the same for long periods of time. But yeah, it is sometimes out of date. However, not everything is necessarily printed books. You have electronic books, which is going to be the newest thing you're going to be able to find in the bookstore or online, you have databases of things you can't easily get to. We'll talk a little bit about LexisNexis a little bit later, but let's say we'll look at legal stuff. Because, I'm not a lawyer, but there's things are sold, I believe I have them. And I'm not a lawyer, but there's two types of law you really have to be concerned with. One is statutory law, it's actually written down in the books. The other is common law. And common law is basically how things were interpreted. And sometimes it's good to go, okay, does this law really mean what I think it means? Then you go look at case law and see how a judge interpreted it. Once the first judge interprets it, in theory, other judges are supposed to follow that choose and now act. I had a business going on last night when I was looking at lock-picking laws in Alabama things. Okay, the next quick law on the graph I brought with me, which is sitting on a table out there. Also access to the internet, printers, and library control. I love controlling libraries whenever possible. Except for that library. You don't control that particular library. That would be a bad call. Okay, other objection of why to go to the library. It's easy to look things up in Google. Generally speaking, but not everything is going to be out on Google. I mean, there's going to be some things like these journals I'm referring to that you can't get anyplace else. Also, sometimes it's good to ask a reference librarian because you may not know how to find something in the library, but that's their job. They know how to find it. You can talk to them and they can put you in the right area. Even if they don't understand technology necessarily, they'll hopefully know where you can go. They'll know what I'll talk about ebooks a little bit. You won't necessarily know the library has eBrary, O'Reilly Safari, or one of the other packages, but they will, they can point you in the right direction. Another objection might be, why leave your mom's basement? Well, I don't have a whole lot of answer to that. Just, try to bake very regularly and continue. One of the big things that you'll find in the library that you won't necessarily easily get is electronic databases. I mentioned EBSCO host and LexisNexis earlier. LexisNexis, I think it's an easier name to say. It's great for looking up legal matters, but also because of how the whole publishing heritage thing works in higher education, you have journals and you can't necessarily easily find this article on someone pulled off such and such civil attack using Tor. Oh, I know someone wrote about this in some conference journal, but it's not online any place. But somehow nobody got sold to one of these companies that EBSCO hosts, who you can have to get it through, or JSTOR, or something like that. So those things aren't necessarily publicly online, but you can go into these journals and actually be able to pull these things up. Also, the electronic books, like I want to find the newest version of Hacking Exposed, I believe it's eBrary or Books 24/7, it has that out there. Now, granted, you have to sit there and thumb through it on a computer. That's what a lot of us do every day. You can print out some of it to a certain limit. And while I've never, I'm not advocating printing out more than you're supposed to allow to by license. It's a little bit of creative thinking. You can figure out how to print it out all of it if you want to. Also, another pro, and maybe it's just me, I like hard copy. I like reading from reading books. Now, these e-ink books are better, and modern screens on tablets have gotten better, but there's something about the tactile feel of having a book in hand you can thumb through. You can, I like dog eating books. You put bookmarks in. I just like that. Or Giles Buckley says, what's it? Acquisition of knowledge and smelling. Also, professional writers seem to be better writers. This isn't always true, but sometimes you can find a blog post and be like, okay, you are an incredibly intelligent guy, but I have no idea what you're saying. And I hope that professional writers, professional editors will improve on that. Like, having professional editors is huge. Actually, I don't think my grammar is that bad. You have to read this on the website, and it's all over the place. Does instead of that, and you instead of yours. Because in my head, I mean, most writers do this. If you're writing something, you need to proofread in your head what you thought you put down on paper. And you may not. Having a technical editor helps with that a lot. Actually, my old editor was technical, but she taught me a lot about grammar. Nancy Coffin, who was a librarian that used to work. Great lady, my favorite librarian. And she taught me most of what I know about grammar, more so than anything I've probably learned in my English classes. Now, also looking on security topics, this is something that I was talking to my librarian boss one time, and I gave her one of my articles to review, and she said something to the extent of, well, how do you reference any sources? Like, well, in computer security, generally speaking, I reference sources. I study how it works. If you want to try it, try it. The truth is, whether or not it actually works the way I tell it to. I just said, there's less calls for authority in computer security. Let's talk about things statistics and so forth. So, that's not a big issue, but sometimes, especially when we're talking about, I do a lot of research in documents, stuff like 4 and ICP, and it's nice to go back and look at old articles, which once again, you may or may not find online, but you will find sometimes cases or so forth. Also, the nice thing about books, not like better than web pages in some cases, in some security companies, it's a one-stop shop. You might find something like, oh, here's how you do a man-in-the-middle attack using DHCP. But if you don't know what a man-in-the-middle attack is, if you don't know what DHCP is, that article may not necessarily do you good. Most books on a topic should at least cover from beginning to end. I have been feelings about it sometimes, but there's some books out there like Hacking the Flow series. That is generally pretty good. Sometimes the material gets a little dated and they should edit it more often. Like a few years ago when there were their techniques out, when they were showing how to use lossback. But it's nice to have a one-stop shop. Let's say you want to do Metasploit. You might find a web page on how to get an expert to look at Metasploit. But let's say you want to learn from the beginning to the end. They did have a book out called, I believe this is, oh great, Metasploit Unleashed. I believe that's what the book title is also. I know it's also Metasploit Unleashed online, which is a great resource, and it teaches you really step-by-step things and everything, and that's nice. You don't always get that from the law books. Now, if you need to find some in the library, you may not say know where to go for one. So talk to a librarian. As you can see, you look around some behind your desk, there's something like that picture right there. That's your librarian. And you go up and talk to them, say, can you help me find some information on pen testing or security topics? You may have to explain what pen testing was. I've actually had two security professors, or well, they were outside with two security classes, where they explained what pen testing was. You might have to define it. If you go to them and say, hey, how can I hack what it gives you may not get the best results from your people, because a lot of people think hacker necessarily means bad. And in all fields, terminology, I mean, hacker doesn't mean bad. Our personal definition is someone who likes to bypass communication. They could be technical, they could not be technical. Actually, nothing. Really, just a hacker in that sense that I personally know of had to do model railroads. They were hacking model railroads. When you think about home automation, that kind of thing, think about the automation you put into a model train and make sure everything runs on time. It's kind of a neat little hobby. You could also point towards the Wikipedia Institute for Hacker. I mean, but just keep in mind that Wikipedia sometimes looked at the same way by librarians as scab workers are looked at by automobile manufacturers or labor unions. Granted, Wikipedia, I would not use as an authoritative source for something. And some things, it's the best thing out there because some of this new event, it's not to say it will be in a dictionary or an official encyclopedia, it probably will be on Wikipedia, which is opinion for 11. So, we try to just look at Wikipedia as, well, we're being assaulted. Generally, the best thing we use Wikipedia for research is read the article, see all the links and sites, then you actually write the paper, cite the ones that link to. Now, there's different types of libraries out there, and there's public libraries and university libraries. Now, I said before some stuff back at the university, I'm probably largely looking forward to the time in which we have the education bubble burst. University and academic libraries are generally going to be better than public libraries. Public libraries, in my personal experience, don't have a whole lot when it comes to technical material. But maybe yours varies. I mean, this is Huntsville, Alabama. I'm assuming y'all's technical library, your local public library has more technical materials than mine in Walton, Indiana. Am I right or am I wrong on that? How is the technical efficiency of the books in Alabama's Alabama? No comments, nobody else. Still down? Oh well. University, though, is more likely to find these books, and if they don't even, there's something you should look into called interlibrary loan. Next one, interlibrary loan is you'll have partnership agreements with all these libraries where you can request a book. So you can go to a place called, okay, I'm thinking of it here in a second, WorldCat. And you can actually search for a book's title, and then you can find other libraries who have that book. Then you can go request that book from that library. So anything you want, if you want to get it for free, that's the way to go about doing it. if you want to find more electronic books and journals at the university library, you may find something public. And also there's more co-eds to stare at, that's the thing. So university library is good to get into that. And just because you're not a student doesn't mean you're not going to be able to get access. At least where I am, the local university libraries let patrons who are in the community get cards. They can check things out. You can usually get guest accounts to get on the internet there. So even though you're not a student, you might have a few less privileges, you can generally get on and use those particular libraries. So definitely look into doing that. Also, purchase request in the library loan, and it's a little bit about the library loan. That's the URL to look at if you want to actually look to see who has a book in your area. It's pretty awesome. Anything you want, you may find someplace you can already borrow it. Also, you can sometimes do purchase requests. Now, just any old patron that comes in, they may not want to do this for. I used to work in the library, and I didn't buy any of the security books for years myself. I was either given them, or I was going to the library from cheap bastards. True story. But if you, for some reason, can't get a book ordered, talk to one of the side professors there. They a lot of times don't necessarily know a lot about security, but they want to know more about it, and they don't know what books to order. A professor recently asked me what computer security book would I recommend for a class, and I started doing some research and out, and I was able to tell them. So the faculty knows this might be doing you a favor, but you're also doing him a favor telling them what books out there are well regarded in the industry, so you can get them to order whatever you want. Now, electronic books, there's all sorts of ones you should look into as far as tech matters is concerned. Episcopal Host has one. They've changed the name some, so I'm a little confused on which is which. I want to say, there's also, I believe, there might have been Books 24/7 at one time, and now it's Episcopal Host Libraries. Names changes, companies change things. That's Books 24/7, might be a different one from that. I know Books 24/7 has a lot of great technical content. Very easy to search through. So look into that one. Actually, I could get all sets at once. Episcopal Host has some books, so Episcopal Host has a lot of stuff as well. O'Reilly Safari, I think it's a little expensive. I don't know if most libraries have it, but I really like the books I've read from O'Reilly's Publishing, and that has most of them out there on their resources. Now, it's a cost thing, but if the library licenses it, we get access to it, which is a nice thing. Also, eBury is pretty nice. It's almost like reading a PDF that's on the web page. They use some proprietary plugins to show that. Well, actually, I think they may have updated to HTML5 at this point, so you don't even need the plugin. But those are all great resources if you want technical books. Then there's also electronic journals. Factiva, Episcopal Host, LexisNexis, or ACF. If you want to see stuff on CompSci, ACM is an awesome place to be able to get in. Hopefully your library subscribes to it. Like I said, you probably going to have better luck inside of an academic library than a public library. Some of these you can also download PDF formatted files of and take someplace else. Which brings me to this guy. And I'm going to turn around and read the text because a lot of the individual details I don't know, so I apologize for that. This man is Aaron Swartz. He was born on October 8, 1986. You might know him as one of the people who helped design RSS. He was also instrumental at one point in Reddit and the Creative Commons license. Now, he had some problems. At MIT, he was arrested on January 6, 2011 for breaking and entering and downloading academic journal articles from JSTOR. Now, the breaking and entering, I'm not sure how exactly you count these laws because the room was unlocked, and according to one report I read, essentially a bum had been living there or storing stuff in there as well. So it was a wiring closet. He probably should have been there. He didn't exactly break in when the report that read. He basically had to turn the door, walk in. Well, he had been going into this particular wiring closet and setting up a laptop, and he had scripted up something to automatically download articles from JSTOR. There's tons of things that you couldn't get behind because it was all behind the paywall. Well, Aaron was a research fellow at Harvard, so he had access to this already, and MIT lets visitors on campus to visit JSTOR anyway. Basically, he already had access to all these articles. He was just automatically stuffing them all down. The guy who was in charge of the case on his side referred to his behavior not so much as criminal, but possibly, I'm trying to think of the terminology he used, not respecting other people, because he just had a lot of bandwidth doing this, I suppose. Doing this, I think it was like 60-something gigabytes. But whether or not that was legal, well, I don't know about whether or not it's legal. Some people apparently inconsiderate. That's what the community side refers to it as. Because you're sitting there, you're automatically setting down a lot of stuff on that website. Maybe you're causing some potential issues as far as quality of service. So, the CFFA, the Computer Crimes and Fraud Act, I believe it is, intentional access to a computer without authorization or exceeds authorized access. This is when the law said try to charge him under. Now, if he had access to it, was he exceeding it by making an automated process? That's a little bit more questionable. I mean, he had access. Was it explicitly stated that you can't use the script to suck it down? I'm not sure. But even if you did, is that really the same thing as unauthorized access as it was originally defined? Well, JSTOR was not happy about it, but they didn't decide not to pursue charges. They just said, drop that. I mean, and they're the wrong party if anybody's wrong in this, because there's something content off their site that might be sold, and there's also something up their bandwidth. So I'm thinking something like JSTOR, I think it was like 70-something gigabytes. I wouldn't think that would be a huge amount to them, or MIT. Hell, Old University I came from had a 10 gigabit connection to the internet. Yeah, actually, the infrastructure was about 1 gig. So I'm assuming MIT has better than that. Well, MIT did not say to drop it, and apparently the U.S. Attorney, Coleman Audits, decided, hey, let's actually press charges and make an example of this guy. And he was possibly up for 35 years and $1 million in fines. The reality of it is, it was less, and I think one of the final ones they gave him was like something like 7 years, 5 years or something. They were trying to put it down to, I want to say, 6 months. But because of essentially going into an unlocked wireless closet, looking at the laptop and sucking down, I think, PDFs, he was going to be charged potentially with $1 million and 35 years in prison. Yeah. Oh, prosecutors wanted him to plead to 6 months in jail on a plea bargain, but otherwise the max charges could have been as high as 50 years. And on a down note, Aaron took his own life on January 11, 2013 at 26 years of age. This is one of the reasons I have a lot of respect for university administrators, besides my own personal experiences. All I had to do was say, you know what, we forgive the guy, it's all good, go away. Now granted, the lawyer would still possibly be causing problems, but that's just a level of draw that could have been stopped much, much earlier. And if you're interested in more information on those, I'll have these slides posted on my webpage eventually. There's a bunch of really good links out there for information on the Aaron Swartz case. Okay, let's go to something more happy. This is a microfilm machine. If you ever do background research, let's say you do open source intelligence on someone, you know that there was some incident like 10 years back, you can't find anything on the internet, or let's say 20 years back. A lot of times the public library will have microfiche of every copy of the local newspaper going back years and years and years and years. It may not be indexed online, but you can find it through a microfiche or a microfilm. And also, there's a lot of government docs that probably don't be found out that way. And that's nice. Another thing that you find in some libraries is very old journals. Like, let's say you want to look in an old Byte magazine, an old Computer Times magazine, whatever. You want to find one that goes back to the late 70s, you can probably find it bound at a local university. It's nice to have. Oh, as far as internet access, if let's say you're really poor, if you're from a poor family, you don't have access to decent internet, you don't have access to a decent computer, well, a library is a good option for you as far as being able to do research. It doesn't have a computer there for you. However, any computer that's sitting around in the library, you probably would be somewhat suspect of. You don't know who's been there before you. You might be trying to install something. You might be looking back to see if anybody looks like they've installed a hardware keylogger. But some of those you can actually put in the internal if you really, really want to. Sit like that on the PCI bus. You might worry about doing Trojan. So one thing you can do is you can create a boot CD or USB to bring with you and boot from it. Now, depending on what library attendants see you doing this, they might get a little upset, but there's a possibility. There's several good ones I can recommend. Probably for the sake of doing this, I recommend TAILS. I'm trying to exactly what TAILS stands for. The Amnesic something Linux system. Essentially, I think it's the Amnesic Incognito Linux system. Essentially, you boot from it, it doesn't leave any traces on the machine, and it uses Tor or IPP to get out of the internet, so you have an extra level of privacy, which is pretty nifty. Also, some of these universities, or not so much universities, or some universities do, a lot of libraries filter, and you might be able to get past the filter by using Tor. I'll talk a little bit about law in a second. Actually, my local public library one time pulled out my website, and they said something sent to this website installed malware. No, it didn't. But I happened to fall into a hacking label because it said law and children. It was not allowed to show it, but instead of making custom title pages, they just lumped everybody together and hacking as installs malware. Annoying. Internet access units, obviously there's open Wi-Fi. Anybody can be able to sniff that. This probably won't get you a whole lot, but there's something called, everybody know monitor mode? I'll describe monitor mode for you. Monitor mode is when you put the card in a mode where it's actually seeing all the raw wireless packets out there, including broadcast saying, hey, this is my SID, this is my network name, I'm out here. You can capture all that. There are some tools that Joshua Wright wrote. You can take that and turn it to regular Ethernet, and feed it into all sorts of tools like EtherCap and Cave, and start dumping passwords, or challenge responses and start trying to crack them, or in some cases, you can probably dump them into your Wireshark or Network Finder and save out all the files people are accessing via FTP, HTTP, and SMB. So that's fun stuff. But because people can do that, be careful when you go on the internet. Don't check it back in the local public library, obviously. If you want some tips on that, I actually have a HackerCon handout I used to give away that shows people what not to do on a HackerCon network. Generally, a library network is not going to be nearly as hostile as a HackerCon's network, but the same kind of advice applies, it's just not as dangerous. It's kind of like advice on avoiding mugging. You need to do it in a safe neighborhood. It's still possible it might happen. Also, obviously, before you go in, keep everything patched, use encrypted protocols, and watch for SSL warnings saying this cert is not matched or is not properly signed. Now, there's some students in there and they're like, yeah, that's what I'm messing with. Also, some things may be filtered. That brings me to something I alluded to earlier. The Children's Internet Protection Act, CIPA, or I'm going to say CIPA. Basically, this mandates certain things that the libraries have to do to get funding. And one of them is they have to filter out porn. But according to a particular part of it, section 1732, hacking can technically be considered something else you have to filter out for the sake of the children. Think of the children. So you can bypass this. You can go up to the library and ask that machine, if you're using more dev machines, so that you can bypass it. But the library may or may not know how to do that. My personal recommendation, if you want to use the internet there, find a box on the internet you can either use Tor to, VPN or SSH tunnel to, and then get out. And then surf around all you want. Oh, a neat trick I found a few years ago. It didn't look so well the last time I tried it, but there's this proxy system that is based around using Perl and all web-based. It used to be you could search for this string, entitled nph-proxy, and it would show you a bunch of people who put this proxy out on the public on the website, and let anybody use it. Using that, if someone filters a certain web page, you can use that proxy to then get out on the public internet past the filter. Also, some people filter things in such a way that they'll only let, let's say, a library's machine read sites that end in .edu. Used to be we had these machines for checking the card catalog and other things. They would only let you get you like the card catalog and anything ending in .edu. Well, if you did a search for this, add it on the end, site colon .edu, using Google search parameters, you can find only those .edu sites. And then, since the proxy's at .edu, you can get anything on the internet, which can be nifty. Well, that's about all I have to say on this particular subject. Am I way short on time, or what am I on? How much time I got? What about how much more time I got?
10 minutes.
I got 10 minutes. In that particular case, I'm trying to think of what I can actually say to fill up 10 minutes. But I'm going to say something about DiviCon. DiviCon is a computer security conference hackathon we have in Louisville, Kentucky. That's going to be coming up this year on September 24th to 28th. I think it's 26th through 28th if you're just interested in the conference part. The earlier parts are trainings. There's a bunch of other conferences that I recommend going to. A few of them I should add to that list. I should add ShowMeCon, but this slide is kind of old. I don't have ShowMeCon on that. That's going to be in St. Louis. Finally, are there any questions? I kind of went through that. You have a question?
Yeah. If someone's wanting to get into this field, what do you think the best route is for?
Well, see, I don't know all the best routes. There are, at least now, cybersecurity. I hate that term cyber. Cyber's been something entirely different in the 90s. probably help somewhat, because that's going to be an HR filter for a lot of things. The way I first got my job was I started a blog and started writing about computer security and started speaking at conferences, and then eventually people wanted to hire me. A lot of it comes down to networking. Where I got my good, actually both my good job and my upcoming job is because I networked at conferences and people got to know me and said, when I started saying, hey, should I work here or here? And I say, why don't you work for me? And I'm like, okay. But I've been on like a bunch of different job interviews over the last month or two, and all meeting people at conferences and just mentioning myself, meeting recruiters and sending them resumes. So conferences are a good place to meet people. We can talk to some people who have set up as vendors or some sponsors here, and you can find out some good information on people who are looking for jobs, or people who are looking for employees who are looking for jobs. Other questions? Yes?
Just out of interest, if you're looking for your daily security news, where do you go?
There's a bunch of good ones that people recommend. For some grow-written stuff, Krebs is good. People recommend Krebs a lot. Dark Reading has some good stuff. And there's also, Reddit has a particular NetSec section that is considered pretty good. A lot of my stuff, I'm probably a little bit behind, unless it gets hugely known. I'll find it on Twitter. Like, I'll see someone tweet, hey, these people got reached. I'm like, oh, let's go look at that. So, if you follow the right people on Twitter, and who the right people are, that's a little bit questionable, you can find out information there. So sometimes, basically, what you can Twitter is a lot of different posts, depending on the time of day and who you're following. But I'd say all those three sources. Twitter, following some people, Reddit's security channel, so they have sub-channels. If you're only interested in Tor, they have a Tor channel. They have one on Darknet and so forth. I also, Dark Reading is usually pretty good. I think that sounds good. The Krebs is writing some really good stuff as of recently. I'll say it's bad, but it's like some really good stuff recently. Anybody else have any suggestions I can yell out? What do y'all like featuring for secondaries? I used to be fine for root secure, but it's kind of gone defunct.
I like watching the isc.sims.org, seeing what.
Like Storm Center?
Yeah, the Storm Center to watch what fortune meetings happening in the course of the day. It's kind of a good early morning site.
Okay, yeah, look up Storm Center Sands, and that's a good one. Anything else? All right, any other questions? Well, I would read the library. I think it's an interesting way of people extracting money, and it kind of, one interesting phenomenon I've heard about that one is that while the stock company aren't on these fees, they actually do, my understanding, send you the key when you pay them. But then again, if they didn't, and rumors got out that they did, then no one would ever pay. So I think it's an interesting piece of malware. I'd be really pissed off if it was on one of my machines, and actually I think I'll look for it tangentially work for an organization where it did happen, but I don't have a whole lot of extra insight into it. I mean, it's just another interesting way to use malware to be able to accumulate money. Anybody else? Yes. A lot of universities offer certification programs now. If you have no experience in the field, certifications probably are a good route. I remember many years ago I was getting certifications. I supposed to help because I wasn't known for speaking and didn't have any experience. So they're good at that point. Once you have some experience, though, I don't think people care too much about certifications one or the other. So getting that initial experience is a catch-22. So there are certifications out there. I'm trying to look up my own CISSP study guide, or video study guide, but it's going really, really slow. I think it's like IND's not safe for work CISSP study guide, because I swear a lot of it. And say various other, well, you know how you have different mnemonics for remembering things, like the layers of the OSI model? Mine like doing limits. Any other questions? Yes?
I just wanted to let you know that I'm really enjoying your Twitter.
Well, thank you very much.
Where are you from originally?
Strange enough, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. What you hear right now is I had a speech impediment when I was a kid, and it's mellowed with age. So now it sounds like I'm from some, England, a lot of people guess. I'm told I should be able to use it to pick up women, but so far, really, it hasn't helped a whole hell of a lot. Other questions? Actually, not glad this is a little early, so I have any questions. Any other questions? Well, in that case, I want to invite you all to, unfortunately, I won't be able to show anything about it, and I'm kind of sitting out there. But I bought some lockpicking stuff. If anybody wants to learn to lockpick, I have some materials out there. And hopefully, doing individual breaks, I might be able to go out there and show some things. I'll probably be here most of the time recording. But if there's no other questions, I just want to thank you for your time, and thanks for attending this BSides.
Are we having fun yet? Yay! Okay, my next, I have to say, half of the speaker is from here, out of Huntsville area.